Hello, this is Sarah. The story of Amanda, which I will tell you today, is titled, I paid $3,000 for my housewarming party, but when I returned home from the hospital, there was my sister's baby shower. Mom grinned. Your home party is not as essential as Emma's pregnancy. Quit talking. I just called once. All right, let's leave. My name is Amanda. I achieved it at last, and I'm 34. I purchased a home of my own. 3 bedrooms, 2 levels, and a location that makes you want to stroll about at night. When I was younger and broke, I had dreams of this type of location. The weekend after moving in, most individuals would have hosted a housewarming celebration. Not me, though. First, I wanted everything to be flawless. As in, truly flawless. I spent weeks choosing furniture, carefully considering each item rather than just buying whatever was on sale at IKEA. The size and color of the couch have to match the living room. I intended to have guests frequently, so the dining table needed to comfortably seat 6 people. I even purchased original artwork for the walls rather than the same old reproductions that everyone has. I continued getting texts from my pals asking, Amanda, when's the party? I am forward to visit the new location. However, I continued to put things off. Soon, I would say to them, just want to get everything ready first. Last week, I finally glanced around and said, all right, this is it. This is fantastic. Each area had the appearance of something from a magazine. Tidy, well-prepared, and hospitable. I was prepared. I thus gave my best buddies a call. I only have around 5 or 6 individuals who I truly care about and trust. You know, quality over quantity. I asked if they could join me in 2 weeks when I finally got ready for the housewarming celebration. Everyone instantly said yes, with excitement. However, I was aware that I couldn't just text my family about it. They required a formal, in-person invitation. I made the decision to inform my parents face-to-face over supper at their residence. About 20 minutes away, my parents reside in the same home where I grew up. It's cozy, but not as big as my new house. Dad is generally in his recliner watching whatever game is on, and Mom is always cooking when you arrive. My sister Emma's automobile and her husband Jake's pickup were the 2 more vehicles in the driveway when I arrived that evening. I should have anticipated their presence. Emma has been spending a lot of time at her parents' house recently, and she is currently 6 months pregnant. She seems to like the attention. Everyone was in the living room when I entered. Mom brought Emma a beautiful pregnant cushion and fussed over her. Jake and Dad were discussing a job assignment. Emma appeared to be holding court as she was in the center of everything, one hand on her stomach. I took a seat and waited for the discussion to stop. Everyone was listening intently as Emma talked about how the baby had been kicking all day. When there was a pause at last, I dived right in. So, I wanted to inform you that on Saturday, the 15th, in 2 weeks, I will be hosting a housewarming celebration for the new home. It would be very appreciated if you could all attend. It was a lackluster response. Oh, that's nice, dear, Mom remarked with a kind grin. We'll do our best to make it. Emma's eyes seldom left her phone. Yeah, maybe. I was waiting for more zeal, but it didn't come. They all simply resumed their previous activities as if I had mentioned that I was getting my oil changed or something. Then Emma woke up abruptly. Well, it makes me think. I've got a baby shower planned. Actually, we had the same weekend in mind. What was the date you mentioned for yours? The 15th, I said again. Well, we also considered the 14th or 15th. But we can work things out, so don't worry. Suddenly, the whole topic of conversation turned to Emma's party, including who she was inviting, what games they would play, and the decor she wanted. Mom became ecstatic and took out her phone to browse Pinterest for inspiration. Dad even dropped the TV remote control to participate in the conversation. While my party had such a lackluster reception, I sat there watching them all become excited about Emma's. To be honest, though, I wasn't all that shocked. In my family, things have always been this way. Emma received the larger birthday celebrations when we were children. I recall inviting 4 friends over for cake and ice cream on my 8th birthday. Mom invited her entire class and booked out the community center for Emma's 8th birthday. Mom said, Emma just has more friends, in response to my question about why mine differed. Or when I made the honor roll in high school, Dad would say, good job, kiddo, and that was all. However, they invited the grandparents to a celebratory meal at Emma's favorite restaurant when she joined the cheering team. They do love me, it's not that they don't. However, in the family drama, Emma has always been the main role, and I have always been the supporting one. As they planned Emma's shower, I waited there for an additional hour, attempting to bring up my housewarming every now and again. Every time, someone would nod, say something vague, and then immediately return to discussing baby-related topics. I got up at last. Well, I'd better go home. Just to be clear, though, my housewarming celebration is scheduled for Saturday the 15th at 2 p.m. You all know where the home is since you already have the keys. I sincerely hope you can attend. I could hear them talking about Emma's party, color schemes, catering possibilities, and whether to make a diaper cake as I made my way to my car. Before starting my car, I sat for a minute staring back at the house where I grew up. I always felt like I was in Emma's shadow, where her accomplishments were recognized like national holidays while mine were recognized but never celebrated. But what do you know? Their excitement wasn't necessary for me to throw a fantastic celebration. In addition to my friends, I intended to extend an invitation to the rest of the family, including my grandmother, aunts, uncles, and cousins, since they would be thrilled to join me in celebrating. In fact, the days that followed were rather wonderful. I called my mom's brother Mike, my dad's sister Carol, my cousins Jenny and David, and my grandmother Rose. My parents had not been as delighted as everyone else. I had approximately 15 confirmed guests by the end of the week, including close friends and relatives who really appeared interested in joining me in celebrating. It was giving me a great sensation. To be safe, I ordered meals for 20 guests over the phone from the catering business. Simple yet high-quality items include salad, sandwich platters, hot appetizers, and dessert. Since it was a weekday order, the woman on the phone was really helpful and provided me a terrific discount. It was well worth the additional $1,500. Along with thinking about how to set up the house for the celebration, I also started compiling lists of the decorations I would need to purchase. Some ideas included moving furniture around to improve flow, hanging "Welcome Home" banners, and getting flowers for the tables. Everything was fitting together just right. Then, precisely 1 week prior to the celebration, I awoke with the most excruciating stomach ache I had experienced in months. I've had a peptic ulcer for the past 3 years or so. I usually took medicine and watched what I ate to control it quite effectively. But occasionally, it would flare up badly when I was worried or neglected myself. That was the case here. I was in such much pain that I was unable to stand. I tried resting down with a heating pad, drinking some milk, and taking my regular prescription. Nothing was successful. By midday, the discomfort was increasing and I was throwing up. I drove myself to the emergency department after giving up. A huge error. Since it's not exactly safe to drive when in excruciating agony, I probably should have phoned an ambulance. However, I succeeded. After glancing at me, the emergency room physician requested certain testing. "Looks like your ulcer is having a party without you," he joked, attempting to be humorous. I had no desire to laugh. He returned with a judgment after what seemed like hours of testing and waiting. "You must be admitted for a few days. We want to manage this flare-up before it worsens since it's rather serious." Thus, precisely 7 days before to my housewarming celebration, I found myself laying in a hospital bed with a drip attached. Just the ideal moment, isn't it? That night, I gave my parents a call to inform them of the situation. On the third ring, Mom picked up. "Hey, honey. What's going on?" "Hi, Mom. Actually, I'm in the hospital at the moment. They're keeping me here for a few days since my ulcer flared up pretty badly." "Oh no. That's awful. Are you all right? Are they looking after you well?" "Yeah, I'm okay. The doctors say I should be fine. Just need to rest and let the medication work." "But, Mom, I'm really worried about my housewarming party next weekend. I don't think I'm going to be able to handle getting everything ready, and I might still be here." There was a pause, and then Mom said something that completely shocked me. "You know what? Don't cancel anything. I'll take care of everything for you." "What? Really?" "Of course. You just focus on getting better. I'll handle all the party stuff. I'm good at organizing things, you know that." And I have your spare key, so I can get into the house and set everything up. I almost started crying right there in the hospital bed. This was exactly what I needed to hear. My mom stepping up to help me when I really needed it. Mom, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Don't mention it. What do you need me to do? You said you already ordered catering, right? Yeah, that's all set, but I still need to get decorations and set up the house. Maybe rent some extra chairs if we need them. Probably looking at another $1,500 or so for everything. Okay, no problem. Why don't you just transfer some money to my account, and I'll take care of all of that. I'll make sure everything looks perfect. Without even thinking about it, I pulled out my phone and sent her $1,500 through Venmo. Between the catering and this, I was now $3,000 deep into this party, but it felt worth it. My mom was going to make sure everything was perfect. Got it, she said. Don't worry about anything, Amanda. I'll call the catering company tomorrow to confirm details, and I'll start shopping for decorations. You just rest and get better. Thank you so much, Mom. This means everything to me. I love you, honey. I'll call you tomorrow with updates. After we hung up, I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. My mom could be frustrating sometimes, but she really was good at organizing events. She'd thrown plenty of parties over the years, birthday parties for Emma, anniversary celebrations, holiday gatherings. She knew what she was doing. The next few days in the hospital were actually pretty peaceful. The doctors got my ulcer under control with stronger medication and a strict diet. I was feeling much better, though they warned me I'd need to be careful about what I ate and drank for a while. Mom called me every day with updates. She confirmed everything with the catering company. She'd ordered decorations, and they were being delivered to the house. She'd arranged for some extra folding chairs to be dropped off the morning of the party. Everything was handled. You don't need to worry about a thing, she kept saying. It's all under control. I was supposed to be discharged Saturday morning, the day of the party. Perfect timing. I'd be able to come home, get cleaned up, and enjoy the party without having to stress about any of the setup. Friday night, lying in my hospital bed, I was actually excited. Tomorrow was going to be my day, my housewarming party in my beautiful house with people who cared about me. Even being sick couldn't ruin that. Saturday morning couldn't come fast enough. I was up early, even before the nurses came in for their rounds. The doctors did their final check, gave me a bunch of instructions about diet restrictions, no alcohol, nothing spicy or acidic, small meals for the next few weeks, and signed my discharge papers. Take it easy, Dr. Martinez told me. Your ulcer is healing, but stress can bring it right back. Try to avoid anything that might upset you. If only he knew what was coming. I called a taxi and gave the driver my address. As we got closer to my neighborhood, I started getting butterflies in my stomach. Not the bad kind, the excited kind. I was finally going to see my house all decorated and ready for the party. I was going to celebrate this huge milestone with people who cared about me. The taxi was about 5 minutes from my house when my phone rang. It was Sarah, one of my closest friends. Hey, girl. I'm so sorry to bother you, but I need to ask you something weird. What's up? Well, me and the other girls just got to your house for the party, and your mom answered the door, but she won't let us in. She's saying there's a different party here today, and we're not invited. My stomach dropped. What do you mean, a different party? I don't know, Amanda. She just kept saying we had the wrong day or something and that we needed to leave. We're all standing outside your house right now, completely confused. What's going on? I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Let me call my parents. I hung up and immediately called my mom. Straight to voicemail. Called my dad. Voicemail. Called Emma. Voicemail. What the hell was going on? When we turned onto my street, I could see cars parked all along the curb near my house. Way more cars than I was expecting. My heart was pounding as we pulled into my driveway. I paid the driver and walked up to my front door. I could hear music and voices inside. A lot of voices. I put my key in the lock and opened the door. The first thing I saw were decorations, pink and blue balloons everywhere. A banner that said, "Welcome, baby," stretched across my living room. Little plastic storks and baby bottles on every surface. This wasn't my housewarming party. This was Emma's baby shower. They had stolen my party, my house, my money, everything. I stood there in the doorway, completely frozen, trying to process what I was seeing. My beautiful living room was full of people, all holding pink and blue gift bags, eating food that I had paid for. Then my aunt, Carol, saw me. "Amanda, there you are." "Oh, honey, we're all so proud of you." Other relatives started noticing me and coming over. Uncle Mike, Cousin Jenny, Grandma Rose, all smiling and patting me on the back. "You're such a good sister," Grandma Rose said. "Giving up your own party so Emma could have her shower here. This house is perfect for it." "So generous of you to change your plans," Uncle Mike added. "Emma was so touched when your mom called us and explained." I felt like I was going to throw up. My parents had called everyone and told them I had voluntarily changed my housewarming party into Emma's baby shower, that I had wanted to do this. Before I could say anything, my parents appeared out of nowhere and grabbed me by both arms. "Amanda, you're home," Mom said with a fake bright smile. "Come to the kitchen. We need to talk." They practically dragged me through the crowd to my own kitchen. Emma and Jake were already there, Emma sitting at my dining table with her hands on her belly, looking like the queen of the world. As soon as we were out of earshot of the guests, I exploded. "What the hell is this? What did you do to my party?" "Keep your voice down," Mom hissed. "We have guests." Dad stepped closer to me. "Amanda, you need to calm down." "Calm down? Are you kidding me? You stole my housewarming party." Mom sighed like I was being completely unreasonable. "Look, honey, Emma's pregnancy is more important than your house party. Having a baby is a bigger milestone than buying a house. We thought you'd understand." "You thought I'd understand? You didn't even ask me. You just took my money and my house and my party." "We didn't take anything," Mom said. "We just redirected everything toward a more important cause. Think of it as a gift from you to your sister." I stared at all four of them. Emma hadn't said a word, just sat there looking smug. My parents were looking at me like I was the one being unreasonable. "I want everyone out of my house now." Dad grabbed my wrist. "You are not going to make a scene in front of the family." "Amanda," Mom said in that condescending tone she used when I was a kid. "Why don't you just go upstairs and rest? You just got out of the hospital. Tell everyone you're still feeling sick." Emma finally spoke up. "God, Amanda, why do you always have to make everything about you? Can you just be happy for me for once?" That was it. I couldn't listen to any more of this. I turned around and walked upstairs to my bedroom. My hands were shaking with rage. I sat on my bed and pulled out my phone. I scrolled through my contacts until I found the number for the local police department. 911, what's your emergency? "Hi, this isn't exactly an emergency, but I need police to come to my house. There are people here who won't leave, and I want them removed." "Ma'am, is this a domestic dispute?" "Sort of. My family is having a party in my house without my permission, and they refuse to leave when I asked them to." "We'll send someone over." I gave them my address and hung up. Then I sat there, listening to the party happening downstairs in my own house, waiting for the police to arrive. About 10 minutes later, I heard the doorbell ring and the music stop. I heard my mom's voice saying, "Officers, there must be some mistake." I walked downstairs. 2 police officers were standing in my entryway, looking around at all the baby shower decorations. "I'm Amanda Thompson," I said. "I'm the owner of this house, and I called you." Everyone was staring at me now. The whole party had gone completely silent. "These people," I pointed at my parents, Emma and Jake, "are in my house against my will, and I want them removed." Mom started yelling, "She's lost her mind. This is her own family." Emma started screaming too. "She's ruining my baby shower. She's completely psycho." One of the officers held up his hand. "Ma'am, if the homeowner is asking you to leave, you need to leave. That's how it works." "This is unbelievable," Dad muttered. But they started gathering their things. As my parents and Emma and Jake headed toward the door, all of them glaring at me like I was the devil himself, I turned to face the stunned crowd of relatives and strangers. "I'm really sorry everyone had to see that," I said. "But I need to tell you what actually happened here." I explained everything, how I had planned a housewarming party, how I got sick and asked my mom to help, how she took my money and turned my party into Emma's baby shower without asking me, how she lied to everyone and said it was my idea. The room was dead silent when I finished. Aunt Carol was the first to speak. "Amanda, I am so sorry. Your mother told us you had decided to give your party to Emma because you thought having a baby was more important than a new house. She said you insisted on changing everything." Uncle Mike added, shaking his head, "We had no idea." Grandma Rose looked furious. "That's the most selfish thing I've ever heard. Taking your money and your party like that." Some of the people I didn't know, apparently friends of Emma and my parents, started making excuses and left quickly. But all my relatives stayed. They were genuinely angry on my behalf. "You know what?" I said, looking around at my house full of baby shower decorations. "I paid $3,000 for this party. I'm not going to let them ruin it completely." I pulled out my phone and called Sarah. "Hey, are you guys still nearby?" "Yeah, we're at that coffee shop down the street." "What the hell happened back there?" "Long story, but can you come back?" "I'm having my housewarming party after all right now." Within an hour, I had my real party going. My relatives helped me take down all the baby shower stuff, the pink and blue balloons, the welcome baby banner, all the little plastic decorations. We put it all in garbage bags. My friends showed up, and I explained the whole situation to them, too. Everyone was outraged, but also impressed that I'd called the police. The catered food was still good, even though it had been sitting out for a while. We moved furniture around to make better conversation areas. Someone found a playlist on their phone and connected it to my sound system. It wasn't the perfect party I'd originally envisioned, but it was real. These were people who actually cared about me and were happy to celebrate with me, not people who saw me as a convenient source of money and free labor. Around 9 p.m., everyone started heading home. The relatives all hugged me goodbye and told me how proud they were of me for standing up for myself. My friends promised to help me clean up the next day. After everyone left, I sat in my living room, looking at all the gift bags full of baby presents that Emma's friends had brought. I wasn't going to keep them. That would be petty and weird. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and about 30 text messages, all from my parents and Emma. Mom's texts were the worst. "You are a monster. How could you do this to your pregnant sister? She was up all night crying because of what you did. You've ruined everything. We raised you better than this." Emma's were even more dramatic. "I never want to see you again. You are dead to me. When my baby is born, you will never meet them. You're the worst person I know." Dad's were shorter, but just as nasty. "Your behavior yesterday was unacceptable. We're ashamed to call you our daughter." I read through all of them, waiting to feel guilty or sad or something. But honestly, I felt relieved. For the first time in my life, I had stood up to their favoritism and manipulation. I had refused to let them walk all over me. I didn't respond to any of the messages. Instead, I called a locksmith. "I need all my locks changed today. Can you fit me in?" "Sure thing." "How many doors?" "Front door, back door, and the side gate. I want completely new locks, new keys, everything." I collected all the baby presents as I waited for the locksmith. Probably 20 suitcases were filled with blankets, toys, clothing, and bottles. I requested that everything be picked up by a courier service and delivered to Emma's home. The locksmith arrived at noon. Roberto was a kind man who didn't inquire as to why I required all new locks placed right away. By the evening, I had new keys and was positive that my parents could no longer enter my home anytime they pleased. 4 months have passed since then. Since then, I have not communicated with any of them. The family grapevine is how I learn about things. 3 weeks ago, Emma gave birth to a daughter. Emma's special day was destroyed by me, and my parents have supposedly informed everyone who will listen that I'm a horrible person and that they no longer want to interact with me. I occasionally get calls from Aunt Carol with updates. She informed me last week that your mom is still disparaging you to anyone who will listen. However, the majority of people believe that what they did to you was terrible, Amanda. No one believes their account of events. The drama isn't lost on me. I don't miss feeling like I'm not the favorite, important enough, or good enough all the time. I don't miss having to fight with Emma for my own parents' fundamental recognition. Now there is tranquility in my home. I frequently host true pals who don't pilfer my parties or my cash. Marcus, a new guy I've been seeing, finds it incredible that I bought my own home and finds it hard to comprehend why my family wasn't more encouraging. I occasionally question whether I will ever speak to Emma and my parents again. Perhaps once everyone has cooled down and the baby is older. To be honest, though, I'm not in a rush. I'm not being cautious around my own family for the first time in my adult life. All I'm doing is living my life in my lovely home with people who genuinely want to be here. And that's a really nice feeling.